Contrary to Mr. Roy's statement, there is ample evidence there is illegally dispositive asbestos throughout the landfill. Though this evidence was not proven in court, there is significant likelihood that asbestos was deposited, unreported, in the landfill. And please see Kevin Roy's report, page 161 to 166, under the heading factual, quote, factual allegations, unquote. Number 18 says, on or about May 21st, 2004, Kevin Crafty, owner of the Mountain View Grand Hotel, pled guilty to state criminal charges for he had illegally removed asbestos from the Mountain View Hotel, buried some of the asbestos on site, and disposed of the remainder through solid waste transporters. Number 19 says, quote, on the information and on belief, the hotel employed waste transporters that transported its waste to Bethlehem landfill for a period of approximately 2 years, unquote. Number 22 says, at no time did NCES detect, sample, or satisfactorily examine the content of the waste loads. Next, number 23 says, during the relevant time period, NCES did not make adequate steps to determine the content of waste that came from the Mountain View Hotel. NCES did not initiate steps once it learned of criminal action against Kevin Crafty and others regarding illegal asbestos-related activities, unquote. It is very important to note that Mr. Roy's own report, page 165, number 35, quote, according to NCES facility manager, Mr. Kevin Roy, he did not know how to recognize most forms of asbestos waste during the relevant time period, unquote. In addition, before I move on, I just want to say, it's pretty hard to believe that he's making such bombastic, ever-changing comments about whether there's asbestos in the landfill or not, and he admits in this report that he doesn't even know how to identify it. Number 2, moving on, in addition to the evidence presented above, as Roy admits, the landfill was granted a permit for asbestos in '88, yet Casella has only presented documents for '92 and '93. This raises several serious questions. Why did the landfill request permit for asbestos in 1988 and not use it until '92? Are Casella's records complete? Are there missing records? I want to point out that Casella wasn't running the facility during this period, so it would be very possible that the other company didn't forward all the records to Casella, which would make it impossible for Casella to report all the asbestos sites. These are important questions. They should be thoroughly investigated. However, given that it is likely asbestos was deposited in uncharted, unreported areas given the poor performance of waste inspection, which this report documents, I would argue that missing records point is moot. It is not in the public's best interest to excavate areas of waste if there is any threat that there may be VOCs, asbestos, or other life-threatening materials exhumed. None of these drastic health risk scenarios were considered when Casella's original Stage 4 permit was granted. As such, this permit modification should be rejected and fought against by the town. Please note, page 173 of Roy's report is not an accurate map of the area to be excavated. I spoke to representatives from DES, and they have confirmed that excavation area is much larger and will include the entire farm perimeter, where the waste will need to be exhumed in order for the old liner to be melded with a new one. Also, nearly the entire capital of the Stage 1 landfill will need to be excavated, exposing gases, smells, and increased leachate levels drastically. In conclusion, I would like to reiterate my concern that Ubaldo and Fiorentino have betrayed the town in their zeal to defend and advocate for Casella. They have betrayed their supporters more than anyone. Their friend Kevin Roy is not to be trusted when he offers assistance to the public. He has lied. He has even lied about lying. Frankly, it's hard to keep track at this point. Perhaps most important of all, I ask that the public take note of Casella's upcoming berm expansion permit hearing, July 15th, 7 p.m. at the Profile School. This permit modification will give Casella 8 to 10 years more capacity by building berms that are 40 feet tall, a half-mile long, with little to no setbacks to property boundaries. This permit, if granted, will allow excavation of old waste, result in putrid smells, and potentially expose our town to asbestos, VOCs, and other toxins. It must be stopped. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson.
Thank you.
First of all, I've watched your editorials in the paper. I haven't said anything. I've read this. I haven't said anything.
I wish you would.
I don't need to get into a pissing contest with you. I don't need to waste my time. But let the record be known to you, the public, that voted myself in I can't speak for Richard. I have not betrayed you. I am looking out for the best interest of this town. I do not agree with House Bill 1429. Obviously, all the senators didn't because they tried to mirror it under another bill and it still was defeated. There was something wrong with it. And now the new permit that has come out for this new permitting process addresses all these issues. And Governor Lynch has looked at this. And yes, I do know this because I have those emails. So,
I would like an opportunity.
I do not want to be, I don't know even what to say. I'm speaking up now, and I'm not going to get into it with him, but that's hearsay. It's from somebody that lost to both of us, couldn't get this seat, a person who signed in the Senate hearings as the town selectman, and he's not. Yes, it is, and I have the photocopies of the quotation marks under Jeannie's name, you and Mr. Polanski. So, don't even go there if you want to talk about that.
We're talking about petty mistakes.
So that's it.
I want to address it.
I'm sorry.
Can I have a chance to respond?
Hold on, Seth. You had a few minutes until Ginny B.
Did you just reference that email that Susan Fischel sent out? That was an update? Is that what you're referencing?
For which one?
She sent out a copy of HB 1429, and it was an update to everyone who was at the hearing that day,
No.
including the board. Was
Not
that?
at all.
No, he's referring to the sign-in
He's
sheet.
referring to
There was a
the-
sign-in sheet that
Yes.
people walk up to the front of the meeting and sign in.
Okay,
And
yeah.
somebody put quotation marks along the bottom side on the right that made it look like several people that were selectmen underneath another person's name. It was never the intent. I clearly know I'm not a selectman.
It was actually for my name, and I didn't write selectmen until later, and you had already put the quotes in.
It was never the
I have
intent.
that plan.
And Mark, if that offends you, I certainly was never
Doesn't
intended.
offend it, just see,
Well,
you
you're
need
bringing it
to
up.
be here every week.
Let's move on.
I think you're making no, I'm not done, and I haven't had a chance to respond to Mr. Fiorentino's comments, and I would like to respond.
This is not a debate. You come up, you bring the paperwork that you give us, we're not going to continue.
I would like to ask the board for a minute and a half to respond to Mr. Fiorentino's comments.
You've done your work.
He made comments.
I'll motion to give
Yeah.
this minute.
Why? I was responding to 3.5 months of his badgering. So I can't respond and end it?
He's done his work. One at a time, please.
I'll give this
Enough,
also
thank
to
you.
anyone.
I second that motion. Harold, vote on that motion. He's done his piece. He said what the paperwork is. This is not a debate. This is not a debate. Motion, Rich.
You have to have two-thirds majority to end debate.
We have to vote
Two-thirds
on it.
majority to end debate, and there's
We're not debating.
well, there's a valid, Rich, there's a
There's far
valid
from
motion on the
something
table. There's a valid motion on the table that
There's
we
not
need to
something
vote
valid
on.
on the table.
Yes, there is. They made a motion to allow Seth a minute and a half to finish his comments. Dan made the motion, Harold seconded it. It's a valid motion.
Go ahead.
We need to call for the vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
You know, what I want to say, Mark, is, I certainly am not trying to have the last word. If you want to follow up and say something afterwards, I would like to say something without being interrupted.
Yes.
Now, I'd like my minute and a half to start afresh. Okay? Okay? Because it's really hard to talk when you keep interrupting me.
Okay, go ahead, Seth.
No, in all fairness. Okay. I honestly, sincerely am not trying to get the last word. If you want to respond with anything afterward, fine. But my point is this: several of the pieces of information that you just recited are false. And I would say that if you do not know very much about HB 1429, I would say that the version that I cited, which is the final version, would have given us payment by January 5th, 2009, and that though I believe that you never intended to cause the town harm, you have. And the allegations you made about having meetings or some sort of control over committees are completely preposterous, as if I'd have ever had some sort of sway with committees and making them happen is absurd.
You did yourself a hole there, pal.
30 seconds.
I haven't spoken much, you're digging yourself a hole.
I assure you I'm not, and I don't know, you gotta back up statements like
I
that.
can. Mr. McGrath,
15
you want to
seconds.
write an editorial this week? I'll give you all the information you need.
That is not appropriate.
I hope you are.
Please,